What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the history of Sweden. So, to be honest, here in the United States, they don't teach us anything about Sweden in school. And so today, I thought it'd be really cool to check out this video here and learn about the entire history of Sweden for the very first time. So let's take a look.
Sweden, officially the Kingdom of Sweden, is located in the eastern Scandinavian peninsula, northern Europe, bordering Norway to the west and north, Finland to the east, and
Okay.
Denmark to the southwest.
I mean, honestly, this might seem really, really obvious. If you're Swedish, obviously. If you're European, you probably know this, but for most of us here in the United States, we need to be taught this. Like we don't even know where Sweden is on a map, really. So, yeah, it's embarrassing. I'll admit it. It is embarrassing how little we know about this stuff, but at least I'm finally learning now, so that's good.
Covering an area of 447,425 square kilometers with a total population of about 10.4 million, Sweden is the
Wow.
largest.
Wow, hold on. Go back a little bit. Sweden is very big. It's very big. Like looking at it like this on the map, it's very long. When you compare it to like the rest of Europe, is Sweden gigantic? But it doesn't have like a huge population. That's really cool. Only 10 million people about, and yet it's a pretty big country. So there's probably lots of space for people to do stuff and have homes, and that sounds really nice.
Sweden is the largest Nordic country, the third largest country in the European Union, and the fifth largest country in Europe.
Okay, yeah. I thought so. Like, wait, in terms of land or population? I don't know. Okay, here we go.
Sweden has been inhabited by the Germanic peoples since prehistoric times, who emerged into history as the Geats and Swedes.
Okay.
During
Whoa, all the way back then? Prehistoric times? You already had the name Swedes all the way back then?
during the Viking Age, many Viking expeditions set off from Sweden to both plunder and trade along the Baltic coast and the rivers that stretched deep into present-day Russia.
This is really cool because we hear some of this like Vikings. I've heard of Vikings. Like that's like a really pop like on TV shows and movies, but so it's cool to see like well it's actually a real thing like in Swedish history and how they actually were in ships and in a real place in Europe going around and yeah, just how it's real. I maybe that's weird to say, but for us it's like a lot of this almost seems made up, not real, because we just see it in TV shows, especially Vikings, because they're very cool.
Around the year 1000, Olaf Skotkonung became the first known king to rule both Svealand and Gotaland, two of three
Okay.
lands of Sweden.
Sweden was divided into three separate lands: Norrland, Svealand, Gotaland. Okay. This is like the first king of Sweden in 10,000, 1,000. So this is like 1,000 years ago. Man, Sweden is old. That's another cool thing. The United States, we don't have a lot of history. Like, we're not that old of a country, the US. So that's another reason this is very interesting. King Olaf. Two of the three regions. Okay.
During the 11th and 12th centuries, Sweden gradually became a unified Christian kingdom that later included Finland. The kings of the Uppsala city ruled most of modern Sweden except for the southern and western coastal regions, which
What? There's a lot. There's a lot to keep up with. Did they just say that Sweden also had Finland? That was a part of it? What?
remained under Danish rule. In the
Okay.
12th century, Sweden remained fragmented with the struggle between the Erik and Sverker clans, eventually ending with the formation of the Belgebo dynasty.
Whoa, you guys had like crests and clans and that's enough. It's like Game of Thrones. Like that's the only thing I can relate it to. But again, this is real. So this is cool. House of Eric, House of Svekker, Gelbo. Never heard of these before.
Which consolidated a pre-Kalmar Union Sweden into a strong state. In 1332, King Magnus IV united the kingdom with Norway and Scania, which was, at that time, part of the Kingdom of Denmark.
Oh my god, King Magnus the Fourth did a lot. Look at the Kingdom of Sweden. It's gigantic. It's like almost all of Scandinavia. So Sweden was huge at one point.
The Black Death killed about a third of the Scandinavian population and led to a long period of economic and population decline in Sweden.
Oh,
After that, the alliance weakened, and Scania was lost to the Danes. Following an
Okay.
internal power struggle in Sweden, Queen Margaret I of Denmark united Sweden, Norway, and Denmark into the Union of Kalmar in 1397.
wow. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of stuff that happened. Which obviously, of course, history has a lot of stuff happening, but there's a lot of stuff happening. I don't know how else to say it. Kalmar Union. So it's Norway, it's Denmark, Sweden, and Finland, or I think. And this was really under the Queen of Denmark, not like the King of Sweden. Oh, is that okay? So that's like a quick past of Sweden. This is how did we get to modern Sweden? Okay.
During the 16th century, a series of rebellions eventually broke Sweden's ties to the Kalmar Union.
Okay.
The fighting reached a climax following the Stockholm bloodbath.
Stockholm bloodbath. That's quite a name. What happened?
A massacre of Swedish nobles in Stockholm ordered by King Christian II of Denmark in 1520.
The King of Denmark massacred all the nobles? This is the capital of Sweden, right? Oh my god.
In response to this, Gustav Vasa of the Vasa noble family rose to lead the rebel movement and was crowned king in 1523, paving the way
Okay.
for Sweden's final secession from the Kalmar Union.
So that bloodbath, that Stockholm bloodbath was kind of the motivation for this king of Sweden, Gustav Vasa, to break away from this union and just have an independent Sweden, basically.
At the same time, he encouraged Protestant preachers, eventually breaking with the Roman Catholic Church and founding the Lutheran Church in Sweden.
Okay.
In 1544, medieval Sweden's elective monarchy was replaced with a hereditary monarchy under the House of Vasa, which
Okay.
held the Swedish throne until
Sweden had an elective monarchy in like the 1500s. By the way, that's pretty cool that you guys were like electing representatives or a king. You were electing royalty? Really? Like people got to decide? I've never heard of that before. I thought kings were always chosen or inherited. Well, anyway, that went away in 1544 to a normal, like, monarchy where it's just the king, then their son, their son, their son. But that's interesting.
1654. From the mid-16th century, Sweden had sought expansion into Livonia, in the territory of present-day Estonia and Latvia. But
Oh.
these efforts were hindered by the Russian Tsar via the Russo-Swedish War, which culminated in the Treaty of Novgorod.
I mean, I get it's so fascinating because I imagine all over the world there are these examples where countries before you ended up how you are now, where countries were like fighting over territory and deciding what their land is going to look like, and even Sweden tried to take part of Estonia, Russia, or anyway, it's just fascinating how when you look at countries today, you just see the result of hundreds and thousands of years of history.
After Gustav's death, his oldest son Eric XIV ascended the throne. By the time of his reign, the Livonian War was fought for control over Old Livonia before the Tsardom of Russia and a varying coalition of Denmark, Norway, the Kingdom of Sweden, and the Polish-Lithuanian Union.
Oh.
At the conclusion of hostilities, Sweden controlled Estonia, forming the Duchy of Estonia.
Whoa. Sweden control? Because I don't think Sweden goes over there now. So at one point you had this part of Europe? What? Swedish Empire. Empire. Okay.
Since the dissolution of the Kalmar Union, Swedish foreign policy had been aimed at gaining control over the Baltic Sea, leading to repeated wars with Denmark from the 1560s onward.
It's amazing because now I view like Nordic countries or Scandinavian countries, aren't you all kind of like friends? You're kind of related in a culturally sort of, but different and friendly with each other. And all of the Scandinavian countries are very successful, happy, very desirable places. I didn't know you were at war with each other for so long. That's kind of weird. Like, I mean, it's nice that now I think there's a good relationship, but it's crazy to think you guys were fighting each other for so long.
Under the reign of King Gustav II Adolf, Sweden gained various victories in the 30 Years' War, seizing territories from Russia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth.
And it seems like Sweden was very successful in fighting these battles too, and gaining land.
After defeating Denmark in two wars of 1643 and 1657,
Wow.
Sweden gained control over the provinces of Denmark as well as Finland and provinces in northern Germany.
Whoa! Sweden really was becoming like an empire. I didn't know the Empire of Sweden was this big. It was massive at this point. I had no idea.
After the Peace of Westphalia and the Peace of Roskilde with Denmark, Sweden emerged as a great power in northern Europe.
Yeah.
However, after its defeat in the Great Northern War against a combined force of Denmark, Russia, and Poland,
The Great Northern War. Denmark, Russia, Poland, of all places, against Sweden? Well, at this point, Sweden is like a giant empire. Is this what kind of took it down?
Sweden lost most of its provinces on the other side of the Baltic Sea.
You gotta think that those areas are extremely difficult to defend, being across the sea from mainland Sweden.
Then, during the Napoleonic Wars, Sweden lost Finland to Russia. In 1810, a French marshal, Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, was chosen as heir to the Swedish throne, taking the regnal name of Charles XIV.
French? Is that right? A French person became king of Sweden? Am I understanding this right? Isn't that a little strange?
During his reign, Sweden fought its one last war with the Norwegians, successfully ceding Norway to the empire. Norway, then, was forced into a personal union with Sweden in 1814, which was peacefully dissolved in 1905.
Oh, it was Sweden, Norway, and then you agreed to separate? Okay.
However, overseas trade was hard hit by the
Not that long ago either. That's another thing about history. It always sounds like, oh, so long ago. Sweden and Norway separated 100 years ago, you know? Like there's people who were alive when Sweden and Norway separated. Like they're probably all passed away by now, but it's only like 120 years ago, a lifetime or two ago, not that long ago.
Five. However, overseas trade was hard hit by the Napoleonic Wars, leading to general stagnation and economic crisis in Sweden. By the
Mm.
late 19th century, 90% of the people still earned their livelihoods from agriculture.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is so good because in the US, when we learn about World War One and World War Two, but we learn about the United States perspective. We learn about what we did. We learn about us. I don't know what Sweden's role in the world wars. So this is interesting.
Sweden remained neutral throughout World War I, trading with
Oh,
both
okay.
the Allied powers and the Central Powers.
Okay.
In response to Swedish trade with Germany, the Allies stopped a large percentage of Sweden's trade,
I
causing
see.
a severe food shortage in Sweden. This
I
eventually
see.
resulted in the replacement of Sweden's conservative government with a social democratic one.
World War One ended up changing Sweden's government to a social democratic government, which sounds very good, even though it was kind of a result of a lot of pain, it sounds like.
During the war, some Swedes also joined the White Guards with the Germans to fight against the Red Guards and Russians in the Finnish Civil War, and briefly
Oh.
occupied land jointly with the German Empire.
Oh,
However, Sweden ultimately withdrew following Finnish protests.
okay.
At the outbreak of World War II in September 1939, Sweden again maintained its policy of neutrality.
Okay.
During the German invasion of the Soviet Union, Sweden allowed the Wehrmacht to use Swedish railways to transport the German troops and heavy weapons from Norway to Finland. For the Allies, Sweden helped to train soldier refugees from Denmark and Norway to be used in the liberation of their home countries.
Okay.
It also allowed the
Sounds like Sweden was in a very difficult position, being between these countries, trying hard to stay neutral, although getting pressured and even occupied at times. Sounds like a very difficult situation. Like in the United States, we kind of have the privilege of feeling very far away from things. You know, we're not, but we are. We feel very isolated, which culturally that kind of hurts us, but geographically, like for war and safety, we feel like we're far away from a lot of threats, which is kind of nice. It makes things a lot more simple for us, I think.
Allies to use Swedish air bases between 1944 and 1945.
Okay. Oh, now we're really getting to the present day.
Sweden was one of the first non-participants of World War II to join the United Nations. During the
Cool.
post-war era, Sweden flourished in industry, facilitating the development of the social welfare system called Folkhemmet, the
Oh,
people's
wow.
home. A Sw-
Wow, social welfare system. Something we could certainly learn a lot about in the US. We could learn a lot about that.
a Swedish term for the Swedish welfare state or the Swedish model. However,
Okay.
by the 1970s, the economies of the rest of Western Europe were prosperous and growing rapidly, while the Swedish economy stagnated. During the
Oh,
Cold War, Sweden publicly maintained a strict neutrality policy and,
that seems to be what Sweden has always tried to do, stay neutral, which, I can respect that.
at the same time, kept unofficially strong ties with the US, Norway, Denmark, West Germany, and other NATO countries. A few
Nice.
years after the end of the Cold War, Sweden became a member of the European Union. By 2000, compared to the rest of Europe, Sweden witnessed great economic growth with low unemployment and inflation rates.
Okay.
In 2018,
Because I don't know much about Sweden, to be honest, but I thought it's a pretty successful country. It ranks very highly for a lot of things. So that really happened a lot starting in the 2000s. I didn't know. That's pretty recent.
growth with low unemployment and inflation rates. In 2018, the Social Democrats and Greens formed a minority government led by Prime Minister Stefan Löfven.
Okay.
After the resignation of Stefan Löfven, Finance Minister Magdalena Andersson became Sweden's first female prime minister.
Oh, Sweden has a prime minister. Okay, I don't even know how the Swedish government works.
She then formed a minority government made up of only her Social Democrats.
Okay.
Currently, Sweden possesses a highly developed economy and maintains an extensive social welfare system following the Nordic model.
Cool.
Sweden is also a member of many organizations, such as the United Nations, the Nordic Council, the Council of Europe, the World Trade Organization, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
Cool.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, there you go. Just like that. 9-minute video. The entire history of Sweden. That was crazy. When I say I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. Like I said, we don't learn about Sweden here. And we should, because it's fascinating. You guys have been through so much. This was like a very broad overview, which I think is good for me. It's what I need, like very general. A lot of details I'm sure were missed, but the history of Sweden is fascinating. How you started with like Vikings and you became this giant empire, multiple countries across across a body of water, and then how you formed into the Sweden that we know today and have become like a very respected, desirable country. It's a fascinating story. So, yeah, this was really cool. I'm really glad I took some time to learn this. So, anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, especially if you're Swedish and you have thoughts about this or if you know about this. That'd be cool to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.